Hi everybody. This video is to help you with the Telemachus stele characterization assignment if you were absent or you just want to hear the explanation one more time. So the first thing that we do when we are doing a stele analysis is to figure out what character you're analyzing. In this case, it's Telemachus. He's Odysseus and Penelope's son. And then down here at the bottom, we have the traits that would describe Telemachus based on what the text says. He's clear-headed, which means he's a good thinker. He doesn't get overly emotional. Clear-eyed is similar to clear-headed, meaning he has good sense about him. He's a prince. He's bold speaking. Cool, not meaning like popular, but rather cool-tempered. Doesn't have a bad temper. He's a true son, which could mean that he's faithful to Odysseus and faithful to his mother and faithful to his country. And he's prudent, which is kind of like being wise. Any word that you don't know what it means, you can actually explore it, and a little definition bar will come up to the side, and it basically just tells you, it's like a mini Google search over here. Okay, so you can look down. Sometimes you have to scroll down. Acting with or showing care and thought for the future. That's what prudent means. So keep in mind, Telemachus is trying to wait for his dad to come back, and he can't get into any fights with the suitors, otherwise they'll kill him, and that'll ruin everything. Okay, so those are the traits of Telemachus, and these are the quotes. So what we're going to try to do is figure out where the quotes go on the chart, and then how we can explain which trait is shown through the quote. So it's up to you. You can do all the green boxes first, and then come back and do all the orange, or you can do them one at a time, green, orange, green, orange. Okay, so let's do the first one together. Telemachus ignored the suitor's talk. He kept his eyes in silence on his father, that is, in the eyes of Odysseus awaiting his first blow. This is an example of what Telemachus does, because what he does is ignore the suitors. It's kind of almost like what he doesn't do, right? He does not get into any fights. He ignores their taunting and their comments. So that's an action. So now we have to explain it, and here comes the hard part, because yesterday you guys were doing a good job of figuring out where the green quotes go on the chart, but the explanation is a little harder. So all of the orange boxes are going to have the same basic two sentences. This quote shows that. The evidence that proves it is blank. So in the first sentence, you've got to figure out what trait is shown because of that quote or through that quote. So if Telemachus is ignoring the taunting of the suitors, this quote shows that Telemachus has a cool personality, or you could say is cool, or he has a cool temper. You can change the wording a little bit, but basically you're trying to figure out what of these yellow traits would fit in that first sentence, okay? And then the second sentence goes with the evidence. So go back to the quote and figure out what was happening in that quote that made me think that. The evidence that proves this is Telemachus ignored the suitors and didn't lose his temper. Okay? So the orange boxes are all going to basically have the same two sentences with slight variations to match the actual quotes. Okay? Now at this point, you might want to pause the video, try to do some of these on your own, and then restart the video so that you can see if your answers matched my answers. I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So if you had paused, welcome back. If not, here we go. Athena speaking to Telemachus, dear friend, you're tall and well set up. Well, being tall is how someone looks. That's easy, right? Well set up is meaning they're physically good looking, okay? Like being built, okay? Now, I need an orange box to explain that. So you're thinking, what does being tall and well set up have to do with anything? What does that prove, okay? It doesn't really prove that he doesn't have a bad temper, because you can have tall people with a bad temper, okay? It kind of shows that he's a prince. and that he's like the true son of Odysseus, because Odysseus is also good looking. So if Telemachus is good looking and Odysseus was good looking, kind of like he's a true son. And also he's princely here, okay? Because in literature, you like to think of a prince as being a good looking character. So I'm going to use two basic sentences. Remember, this quote shows that Telemachus, which comes with the information, is a prince, comma, the true son of Odysseus. The evidence that proves it is that Telemachus is tall and good looking. Odysseus is also good looking, like a king and a prince should be. Now that I made it a little long, you could probably go a little tiny bit shorter than that, but at any rate, two basic sentences to describe, right? Okay, so that explanation goes with my looks. You try to get the boxes in there best you can, but they don't have to be perfect. Okay, if you feel like you understand it, you can stop the video now, or I'll continue on with some more explanations. Telemachus replied respectfully. All right, well, that's what he says, is how he's talking to his father. He talks to his father respectfully. Okay, so what kind of a son would talk to their father respectfully? This quote shows that Telemachus is a clear-headed, prudent person. Now, how do I know he's clear-headed? Well, clear-headed meaning he has good wisdom, right? He has good judgment. Okay, I don't know about you, but it is not wise to backtalk to my father. That's not good for you. So he's being respectful to his father. That's generally a good quality to have. It means you have a good sense. And prudent, again, prudent meant like wise in thinking about the future. So if you look at the quote, it says, they say you have no rival. We stand ready to follow you and fight. So he's being wise about how to take on the suitors. He knows that he's got to be ready to fight with his father. He's not arguing with his father. He's not being disrespectful. He is being clear-headed, smart, and being wise for the future. So my first sentence is what it shows, and my second sentence is my evidence or my reason. I say the evidence that proves it is that Telemachus is respectful to his father and wise in waiting for the right time to kill the suitors. Right? So the first sentence is what's the trait, and the second sentence is kind of what was happening in the quote to make you think that. Right? And then we pull that one over into the speech box. Okay, we have two choices left. The prince Telemachus now caught sight of Athena, for he too was sitting there unhappy among the suitors, a boy daydreaming. Okay, so if he's daydreaming, that's his thoughts, right? What if his great father came from the unknown world and drove these men like dead leaves through the place, recovering honor and lordship in his own domain? Okay, so he's daydreaming about his father, and he's daydreaming about his father coming back and getting all the suitors, killing all the suitors, driving them away. Okay, so he's unhappy that these suitors are taking over his kingdom. Okay, so then you think, is that clear-headed? Is that clear-eyed? Is that prince? Is that princely? Well, sure, right? He's a prince. He wants his own kingdom. He wants to be the prince. He wants to preserve his kingdom and protect his people. So I could say this quote shows that Telemachus is a prince, a true son of Odysseus. The evidence that proves it is that he wishes his father would come back and drive the suitors away and restore the kingdom. Okay, so the first sentence is the trait, the second sentence is the evidence that summarizes basically what was happening in the quote. Okay? We put that over there with thoughts, and then we move on to the last one. Penelope's thoughts after hearing Telemachus speak. So this is what Penelope was thinking. Now, a lot of people thought this would be thoughts, but it's not. It's what is the effect on Penelope. Because we're analyzing Telemachus. We're not analyzing Penelope in this example. So we want to know, because Telemachus' personality, what's the effect on Penelope? Penelope gazes in wonder at her son. Okay, well, if your mother ever looked at you and went, wow, what a kid, that means you've got some good qualities, okay? So, what qualities would a son have that would make his mother look at him and go, wow, what a kid? Well, it says, Penelope's thoughts after hearing Telemachus speak. Okay, so what wowed her? Why was she so wowed? It was his bold speaking. Okay, so this quote shows that Telemachus is bold speaking. The evidence that proves it is Penelope's reaction of wonder after hearing him speak. Okay, first sentence is the trait that I found down in the yellow box. Second sentence is basically a summary of the evidence. Okay, and then we put that into the box where it belongs, and that's the whole entire assignment. Okay, if you can do that for Odysseus, then you can get basically all these points in the summative assessment. Okay, 2 points each on the green boxes for getting them in the right spots, and 3 points each for explaining. Remember, each of those has to have 2 sentences in it, and you get some of your score comes from your grammar. So make sure you have good spelling, capitalization, and punctuation. Okay, if you need any help, let me know.